Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Dan. Welcome back to our book chat. We're on number 7 of the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen R. Covey. Great read, definitely recommend it. We're on habit number 4. Habit number 4 is think win-win. It's the first habit of going from independence to interdependence, focusing our effectiveness on the society and the relationships around us. Dr. Covey talks about how it's important to start to shift our paradigm and focus on how we can deposit into the bank of trust that we have with everybody else around us. He talks about how the different 6 deposits that we can do is number 1, understanding individuals around us, understanding their perspectives, what they want, what they need, right? Number 2, attending to the little things, right? Not just the big picture, focusing on all the little small things that really matter to individuals as well. Number 3, keeping commitments, right? It's important for us to be accountable. It's important for us to do what we say and say what we do, right? Really keeping accountable to the things that we are committed to. Number 4 is clarifying expectations, having very clear communication on what is expected, what, when, and how we're gonna go ahead and do something. Number 5, apologizing sincerely. Whenever we make a mistake, it's so important in every facet of relationships that we have that we take the time to really acknowledge that we've messed up. Why is that so important? It's important to acknowledge that we messed up because when we acknowledge that we messed up, we're actually acknowledging the importance of that relationship to us. It's hard to acknowledge that we messed up. It's hard to apologize. So when we suck it up and we apologize sincerely, what we're saying to the individual we're apologizing to is that you are important enough to me for me to suck up my pride and my ego and just say I'm sorry and say why I'm sorry and what I think I messed up on and how I'm going to improve and make sure that it doesn't happen again. Number 6 is to approach every relationship with unconditional love, because when we have unconditional love with those around us, whether it be our family, our professors at school, our co-workers or colleagues or partners in business. When we approach every situation with everybody's goodwill in mind, everybody's well-being in mind, what does that do? It gives everybody a feeling of security that Dad always is thinking about everybody's well-being in mind. So whatever he is thinking about, whatever he is suggesting, he is trying his best, his very best to deliver the best results for us. But I think, when I think about win-win is actually a very hard thing to accomplish. Oftentimes when we really think about it, we go into an agreement with partners or professors or our family members, we often really have a win-lose or lose-win mentality, right? I'm going to gain something and my gain is going to be your loss. Or I'm just going to give up and give you whatever you want. Because oftentimes those situations are far easier to do rather than to clearly communicate and set expectations that we're both going to come out of this conversation, this agreement, as beneficiaries, mutually benefiting from this conversation. That's super hard to set that expectation and then to actually go into that conversation doing just that. Understanding, listening, setting clear expectations, setting clear guidelines, making sure that whatever agreements that we come up with is benefiting both parties. It's super hard to do because oftentimes when we go into these conversations where we have to come up with an agreement, it's oftentimes emotionally charged on both sides. We both want something and we both think the other party does not want to give it to us. But that's the wrong mentality. And Dr. Covey talks about how there's 5 characters to win-win. The first character is the character itself. Ourselves, we need to have integrity of knowing what win-win means to us. We need to have maturity, the maturity to have courage to stand up for ourselves, but also the maturity to consider the other person's viewpoint so that we can both come to an agreement that we both can agree on. We need to have the abundance mentality that there is enough wins for everybody. Nobody has to lose. The next character, the next element to win-win is relationships. We have to go into every single interaction with the characters that we have in mind to build synergy in our relationships, where we're focused on the balance between production and production capacity. We're balanced on making sure that everybody is happy, because when everybody's happy, we have long-term success. We're not focused on short-term success, we're focused on long-term. What is going to breed longevity to this relationship? The next one is actually building firm agreements that are clear. They're clear on win-win, not clear on who has the better positioning, who has more power in this relationship. The 5 elements that Dr. Covey talks about is setting desired results, very clear on what we're trying to accomplish and when we're trying to accomplish it. Setting clear guidelines, really outlining out what the different steps are that will hopefully lead to the end result. Allowing the other person to, the next one is allowing the other person to understand what resources they have. Who is there to help them? What kind of software is there to help them? What kind of outside help, outside support is there to help them? The 4th one is accountability, setting clear expectations and standards throughout the whole entire process with firm check-in dates, so that the individual doing the work doesn't feel overwhelmed and incapable and incompetent to accomplish what we all set as the desired result. And the last one is having clear expectations and consequences on what is the good consequence, what is the benefit to everybody, and what is the bad consequence. What does everybody have to lose if this doesn't happen? And the last 2 of the elements to win-win is actually having everybody in the system, everybody involved in the family, everybody involved in the company, abide by win-win. Have a win-win mentality throughout, and actually follow the processes. The last one is processes. Actually follow the processes that lead to a win-win situation. And I think what's really important to acknowledge is that win-win is really hard. And win-win is based off of our ethics, our characters, what we hold as our personal missions. And what's important is that if we can't come to win-win, and we can't come to a good compromise where we both feel like it's gonna be okay, then there's always the alternative of no deal. We could always walk away from whatever the conversation is, because going into that conversation, whether it be win-lose or lose-win, it's gonna be lose-lose regardless, because when one party is miserable and feels like they got the shorter end of the stick, both parties will lose. Because one party will feel like they can't contribute their all into the situation. And when that happens, it's a lose-lose situation. You know, everybody is not gonna contribute to the system. They're not gonna contribute to the processes that will ultimately result in the benefit of the whole entire system in general. So when that can't happen, just walk away. One of the greatest examples that literally just happened last night, and I think kids actually do this really well, is my nephew. We have this agreement where in order for him to get his allowance, he has to wash dishes every day, and I can't remind him. And if I remind him, I can only remind him maybe once or twice a week. But if he misses a day, he doesn't get his allowance for the whole week. And yesterday I asked him, hey, you haven't washed the dishes yet, what's going on? And he's like, I'm just really tired. But I was like, well, we have an agreement put in place. And this wasn't the first day he didn't wash dishes. He didn't wash dishes for like 2 or 3 days already. So I said, well, if you don't, then I can't give you your allowance this week, because this is the agreement that we made, and I think I've compromised enough this week. And he said, it's okay then. I'm too tired. I don't want the money. Even though the money actually contributes to his Lego collection, his origami paper, his games, all this stuff, he was like, it's okay. I'm too tired. I don't want to fight. I want to make sure that we're happy. It's okay, I'm not gonna clean. Or I'm not gonna wash dishes. And after that conversation, he actually was super happy. He was brushing his teeth, showering, singing, all that stuff. And I think that's really important to acknowledge that when we are going into a win-win mentality and we understand that no deal is always a possibility, what does that afford us? That affords us peace of mind that no matter what, everything will be okay. And that's the biggest thing when we're contributing effectively to society, is that no matter what happens, if we approach win-win and we think win-win, everything will turn out fine. I think that's my takeaway. I hope you guys found that valuable. If you did, like and subscribe. Talk to you guys soon. Thank you very much. Bye.